I don't know how to start this podcast. I'm a little all over the place, I guess. Welcome back to Confessions of a Wannabe It Girl. It's been very hard for me to get to work or do any of the things I'm supposed to do this week, even though I've still managed to get some done because I got engaged.
Welcome to Confessions of a Wannabe It Girl. I'm your host, Marley Freygang, and I'm here to help you filter out all the bullshit and become the next It Girl. This podcast explores the reality of what it really takes to make it out there. As it turns out, it is way less Instagrammable than I thought it was going to be. I'm still very much a work in progress, but there's simply nothing else I'd rather be doing than chasing my dreams. So let's learn from my mistakes and work together to achieve our dreams with more confidence, clarity, and direction. Let's get after it.
I've been encouraged to make a podcast episode about the engagement. Yeah, it's been a very exciting, I'm very, very excited, confusing moment because I'm here and I need to record a podcast. It's happening, but and I want to talk about my engagement, but it's all, very one person perspective, maybe a little bit two person perspective. And I'm like, does anyone even give a fuck? Do people even really care? Do you even want to know about this? Why would on earth anybody care about my engagement other than me? But, I'm just going to be really honest, I guess, and really real about the experience of how I got engaged. I've been with my boyfriend for 6 years. I did just say I'm going to be very honest with a few ups and downs. No, nothing. Well, you know, we've been together for 6 years. And, when we started dating, I was practically a child. I was 21 when we started dating. We met when I was 20. He was already out of college. He's been on the podcast many times, so yeah, 6 years to somebody might seem like a long time to have been dating, but you have to remember how old I was when we started dating, how old he was when we started dating. So in that sense, 6 years isn't really that long of a time. I'm 27 now. I was 27 when I got engaged. Our friends now move in with their partners a lot sooner because we're a lot older. But at the time when Hunter and I started dating, we were very young. And we kind of have done our early 20s together. I was a junior in college, second semester junior in college by the time we started dating. So I did get a lot of single time, if you will, in college. But that 20s span, yes, I have spent that with my now fiance. I can swing it around no problem, but like hearing myself with the mic, it go through and me hear it myself is kind of like, oh my God, like, am I really a fiance? Because even though I'm 27, and only 3 years away from 30, and there is this really fucked up idea that I think particularly women, not always, but particularly women feel by the age of turning 30 that they have to be married, settling down, having kids. I think that's something that's been really ingrained in little girls, and I am 3 years from being 30, also name of a play. But what was my point? I'm all over the place. It's been a whirlwind. What was my point? I had a good one. This is why I was supposed to write down notes. Guys, I'm completely winging this podcast. This is going to be one of the most frazzled, all over the place episodes because usually I write outlines. And this was not the episode I planned to record today. I planned to record something very, very, very fucking different. And then everyone was like, yeah, you should do that. And I'm like, but yeah, I think it was interesting that I started dating my now fiance when I was 21. And I basically grew up with my fiance. We didn't always live together, but we've really done early life together. I do think it's important to note that we've remained very independent of each other. There are plenty of times we do our own things, we have our own circles. Something that is really important to me in establishing a relationship is that, you get invited out as just you, or you get invited out just him. or her, whatever it may be, I never want to be only considered Hunter and Marley. Always want to be considered as just Marley and just Hunter, even though we are together. And it can be Marley and Hunter at times, but it should never just be only Marley and Hunter. And I think that is a important thing to have established in our relationship is that we are independent of each other, even though we also have a joint partnership relationship together. So even though we started dating very young, we did really have separate lives going. You never just completely gave into everything that is your world is my world and everything that was his world is my world. We have two separate worlds and we share a world together by choice, not, you know, this is it and only it. Something my mom said to me, even though I think she's been gunning for this engagement for quite some time, is that there's no one right way to get married, engaged, move to the next level. Everybody is very different. Everything is very personal. I actually talked about this recently in an episode with Alana from Seeing Other People is, everybody's red flags, beige flags, green flags are different because everybody has different traumas, different experiences, different lives, different financial situations, different whatnot, because of everybody is actually unique. And so, even though it has been 6 years for us to get to this point, that was what worked for us. Yes, you know what? I was with my fiance my entire 20s. And, some people think that's like the time you're supposed to be single and traveling the world. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't. And I got to do a lot of that before I started dating him. And you know, I got to still be with my friends in my 20s. Just because I was in a relationship doesn't mean like my friends and my 20s went away. And vice versa, I got to have him and grow up around him at that time. Yes, mistakes were made and whatnot. You're growing, you're really young at points, but like at the end of the day, like I did kind of always knew I wanted to end up with him and I think he always knew he wanted to end up with me. There's no right or wrong time to meet a partner, let alone a forever partner. There's no rules. I think people have expectations about how long engagements are, how long relationships are, and I'm totally guilty of buying into some of them because it's what you've heard from other people, but at the end of the day, it's all unique and it's all personal. And I have to say, I am very, very happy. And I'm honestly shocked that I am here and I feel like I do. Not because I didn't expect to feel like I do, just because I've never been in this situation before. So I guess I'll tell the story of the engagement, maybe so I can stop retelling it to people on the phone. Actually, before I get into the story, I want to start with one other thing. I've alluded to it and I've talked about it a little bit on the podcast that at a point I had a friend who I'm no longer friends with, and we wanted very different things in life. And I always knew she wanted to get married and wanted to have kids. And I always thought I was going to be in her life during all of that. And I envisioned that. And, she wanted those things. That was what she really, really wanted. And somewhere in me getting older and us having a little bit of space in between us, I realized those things were not my first priority and that, they were going to happen in time. And now I am here getting those same things this person wanted. And I just wanted to say that it doesn't matter that that's all she wanted. No, I don't know if it's all she wanted. I knew that was something she wanted. And we've both ended up here. And that's great. It doesn't matter, if you're the girl who goes to sleep dreaming about, Prince Charming and this big wedding and, whatever. You can get married or get engaged and have a loving partner and not get married. Or you can be fiercely career driven, a hard worker, not be focused on relationships, find a partner, and still end up here. My point being, there's no one recipe. It doesn't matter how you get there. I think there is this really fucked up thing we put on women that needs to be the first priority. And sometimes making it the first priority will also push the people you're looking for away. We talk about needy energy all the time. on this podcast is that like needy green energy. I've felt that in my career is that I've been needy or green for my career. And maybe I've pushed it away. And I think it's very true of love. Nobody wants to date a needy or green person. But the point is, no matter which one you are, you can get there in whichever way, shape, or form. And I'm not saying that like some big martyr, like, I got here, you can get here too. I'm just saying that's what I think can happen. Just like everybody can get to a point they want. It's just every journey is different and unique. Hunter and I had talked about getting married. Like, that's another disillusion I would love to throw into this conversation. I remember when I was a kid, I asked my mom how my dad proposed to her. And she's like, well, we talked about it, and then, we went to the ring shop and then, eventually he proposed, but she like really knew. And I was like, oh, so it like wasn't this big like surprise, da da da, whatever. And then I think, with the commercialization of the big even being asked to prom that we've made where everything should be these grand gestures. And A, not everybody wants that. And B, it's not required. You can do it any way you want. So my mom explained to me that's how she got proposed to. And so I did realize that maybe it's important to have the conversation for me. It was important for me to have a conversation saying basically like, I do want to get married and I'd like to get married to you. It's not a proposal, but like, I'd kind of like to put it on the radar. It was kind of like the conversation of moving in together or like, we're going to save for this or we're going to go into business together. I think it's an important conversation to have to find out if you're going to do that thing. And we didn't have it just one time. We had this conversation multiple times, probably over 2.5 years. Like this came up over and over again in different factors and towards like, do you want to have kids? Do you not want to have kids? What would being married look like? Do you even want to get married? Like the range of how serious and how even silly of a conversation this was happened multiple times. And we talked about it on and off for a very long time. And, the answer was yes. So, this goes back a couple months ago. I know some girlies out there who are really cool with getting whatever ring they fucking want. Like they're like, they can pick it out. It will be whatever. I want to be surprised. I'm not that girly pop. I'm a little neurotic. I knew I needed to have a say in it. And also, I've been very open about this that, I thought I'd be in a different place in my career by now. You know, Going and seeing rings and talking about this also helped me come to peace with the fact that maybe I didn't need to be the most successful person in the world before I get married. All of this really helped me through the process. But yeah, so I was not a girly pop who was cool with my then boyfriend picking out the ring on his own. I needed to be involved in it. And that's not true for everybody, but I needed to be involved with it. So I went with my mom. We looked at many different rings, many different places. I think 5 different shops, trips in general. And, I didn't know what I didn't want. I did know what I didn't want. I actually thought I wanted a really different ring than the shape and cut I have now. It's even on my vision board as a different shape and ring. And, I would put it on and I was really like, this is the one I want. And then I was like, something's wrong. So you start to realize what you don't want, not what you do want. At least in my opinion, that's what happened to me is I was like, ooh, actually, I don't want this. I don't want that. I don't want, whatever. And it was not clear to me though, what I still wanted. So yeah, I went 5 different times to 5 different stores with my mom to look at rings. And eventually it became very clear to me which was the right cut and size and shape and colors and da da da. So it was a long process. And honestly, I can say that I was not the happiest the entire time. Like the first time we went, it was kind of a fluke that we went to go look at rings. We were just in the area. That was fine. It didn't feel real to me yet. So it was kind of just like, oh, we're playing. Then the next time I went, I was getting bad vibes from the sales associate. My mom had been a little like not snippy with me or something, she said ticked me off. So then I'm irritable. So like can't say that experience was great at that second store. I didn't feel very comfortable there. And I also really did not feel like the sales associate was listening to me, which was super frustrating. And then the next three stores is really when it started to like click for me. I was like really very into the experience. I had eliminated the absolute no, so I was a lot more focused. But also, like, diamond shopping is overwhelming. If you don't know anything about diamond shopping, it is quite an education. Everybody knows carats. Here's my hot tip that I did not know. Everybody knows carats. They're like, oh, you want like this is ridiculous. Nobody would, well, somebody probably does. An 8 carat diamond. That's like a huge, huge fucking ring. So everyone's like, I want 4, 3, or 2 carat diamond. The craziest thing is I did not know this, and I'm probably someone's gonna be like, duh. But carats relates to the weight of the diamond, not how big it is. Like, so it has to do with how literally heavy it weighs, not the cut of it. So, like, even though you could have a 1 carat diamond, the face of it could be cut very large to look bigger than it actually is. And that was something I could not wrap my head around. Like, I kept being like, I want it like some every other basic bitch. I want it to be bigger. I want it to be bigger. I want it to be bigger. And my mom was like, no, you want the cut to be bigger. Like it doesn't have anything to do with the carats. And I could not wrap my head around that. So there's quite an education involved in diamonds. There's cut, there's clarity. Honestly, I zoned out because my mom's very good at that. But basically, all of these things affect the quality of the diamond. And then let's getting a brand name diamond. It's not even double the price. It's like almost quadruple the price of what that's really worth. And that was a shock to me. I thought it would be just like a little bit of a markup to have like a name brand diamond. No, 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 no. It is like such a crazy markup. I was so shocked by that. So the education around the diamond industry, crazy. So yeah, by the time we went to the last one, I was settled in on what I wanted. It wasn't exactly this, it was not this ring. I'm holding it up for those of you who can't see. And it was not this ring at all, but it was similar in essence, if you will. However, it was not a gold band. So it was a silver band. But I knew and I was like, all right, I'm done. This is out of my hands. I'm turning it over to my mom to talk to Hunter and probably his mom and maybe his sister and maybe my best friend, but like I'm done. This is it. I sent photos to my best friend and I was like, I'm done. Like I am done. Oh, also, in the middle of this, I went to DC. Oh my God, maybe I went 6 times. Jesus. I went to DC and I visited my grandmother and she took me to a store that carries jewelry. And I saw a ring that was extremely unique and it was really different. And I loved this ring. But I was like, this is like for me, too different. I want a traditional engagement ring. So even though I love that ring and I honestly think about that ring and maybe one day for an anniversary, and staring at Hunter's office just so everyone, maybe for an anniversary or a wedding present, I will get that ring as a gift. But it was like very, very not, I was like, I have to have the traditional thing. That was for me. You could be someone who's like, the traditional is too basic or blah, blah, blah. Whatnot. Like I said, there's no way to do this. So whatever. I go, it's out of my hands. Hunter and I went to Amsterdam. I really fucking stirred the pot on this one. Before Hunter and I got, I'd say, pre-engaged, I had a conversation with him last summer that I said, we need to do an international trip, the two of us. We need to make the time. We need to save the money. We have to put the energy into planning this trip. It's really something important to me as like a couple that like we show each other we can do shit like this. Because my best friend, my one friend, always uses this example and it applies to the trip. She talked about this with her ex. She said, if hypothetically, the kids get out of school at 3:30. I need to know you'll be there at 3:30, not at 3:31, not at 3, well, I guess being early isn't bad, but basically the point being is, you have to do that. And that's how you'll be there. And that's how on some level she knew he wasn't the one for her. And I felt like if we couldn't take the time to put our relationship and do this thing together financially, physically, emotionally, spiritually, if I always throw spiritually in it and I'm always like, "Mrgh," but you know what I mean. Then like that's a sign that like we aren't willing to put the energy into our relationship. So I told him on this trip a year ago, do not propose to me in Amsterdam. And I mean, as you can guess, the story goes, we saved up the money, we took the energy to plan the trip, and we went to Amsterdam, and I had an amazing trip, and it was great. As we're getting closer to this trip to Amsterdam, I start stirring the motherfucking pot. And I'm like, kind of regret saying that now. And I'm like, it'd be pretty fucking cute if you proposed to me in Amsterdam. And I did what every good girl does. I start blabbing my mouth to my friends about it. And then everybody is calling Hunter, and the story got so out of alignment because I told somebody a year ago that if Hunter and I don't go on this trip, that like we need to evaluate this relationship. The story came back like a whole almost year later, and the story goes, if you don't propose to Marley in Amsterdam, she's gonna break up with you. And that was not true. So it got so twisted because I went out there stirring the pot, being like, now I really want him to propose to me in Amsterdam. So basically, keep your mouth shut and don't say anything. Whatever. We got home from Amsterdam and I kind of know it's coming. And I'm thinking like it's gonna happen soon. Didn't happen in Amsterdam, it's gonna happen soon. Whatnot. End of June. Crazy June too. Amsterdam shot a project I produced and acted in. It was a whirlwind. And one of my friends who was on that project actually also got engaged. So evidently the secret to getting engaged, ladies, is force your partner into free, strenuous 12-hour work days and you'll be engaged. Evidently, that's the secret sauce. I'm completely joking. Don't do that at all. But we did just get off this short film project where we shot from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and Hunter was literally free labor on that. And then he proposed to me after that. And my friend, who was a fellow producer on that, she got proposed after that too. So, joke. Point being, I knew it was coming. And I usually have acting class on Saturdays. And Hunter was like, are you busy all Saturdays? And I was like, I mean, yeah. And he was like, let's not do acting class this month on Saturdays. And I was like, that's fucking weird. And I got out of the class. I'm in the Wednesday class. Whatever. So he tells me we have plans every single Saturday this month. When I tell you, at first I was like, oh my God, amazing. This sounds so fucking cute. Like, can't wait to see which one of these he proposes to me at. So like I know, right? Which for some people, maybe you're like, oh, that's not surprising enough. For me, just sent me absolutely into a motherfucking spiral. I'm thinking, so, I'm so stressed out that this entire month on Saturdays and Sundays, because who knows, I have to have a perfect outfit. I have to have my hair done. I have to be in a great mood, whatever. I can't feel bloated, all the dumb shit. I'm starting to really stress. And I have this, like, I'm not gonna lie, it dread. And I'm like, oh my God, why am I dreading this? And it had nothing to do with Hunter and the fact that I wanted to be with Hunter. It was this life-changing event is potentially going to happen to me and is stressing me the fuck out. But, for a second there, I was like, oh my God, am I getting cold feet? Like it is confusing to like separate those. And it did have nothing to do with that. And I have talked about it multiple times with my therapist that I have an issue with anticipatory dread. Whenever something is coming up, I get dread. And so it was definitely part of a pattern I'm working through. But yeah, I'm getting so nervous. So the weekend before, it was my friend's birthday, and a friend asked me, she was like, is there anything, we can do to make sure this is perfect, or like can assist? And she was like, is there anything you don't want? And I literally said, I don't really think he can fuck it up in any way, but I really hope there's a photographer. And, I was like, it could be, I was like, and maybe not the most biggest public thing. The example I continually use is I didn't want to get proposed to at Disneyland or at a major sports game. That was like too much for me. I was like, no, that's too much that. But I was like, something, a little like it's cute when other people see your engagement, but like it doesn't have to be like planes flying over in the sky saying like, "Will you marry me?" And then the photographer. And she was like, "Okay, cool." So week comes around, it's Thursday. I think I called that friend and my mom, and I'm like borderline crying because I am so stressed out knowing that one of these potential weekends I'm going to get engaged. And I don't know if you can tell from my style, I'm not the biggest summer dress girly pop. I have 2 summer dresses, and I had just worn one to the 4th of July, and they both happen to be plaid. So they're just like not the cutest, girliest dresses, but that's also not my style. So now I'm panicking because like I feel like I'm trying to put on a costume to go get engaged or something, or I need to go buy a costume, which doesn't even feel like myself. I'm super overwhelmed because I don't even know if it's going to be this weekend. Whatever. And I convinced my mom that like I need to go shopping on Friday. I go shopping on Friday. I'm trying on a million different things. Some things did feel too girly for me. I was like, this is too fucking girly. Like I would never wear this unless I thought I was getting engaged. Whatever. And then I find the perfect outfit and then it hits me and I'm like, I'm gonna have to do this for 3 to 4 fucking weeks. Every weekend, I'm going to have to panic shop Wednesday or Thursday, maybe even Friday, and find an outfit that I'm in love with because and this is where the control freak really comes in. Because no matter what, if I don't feel my best, like I'm gonna be distracted or something. I am just catastrophizing. Pick the outfit, whatever. Now, this is where Hunter threw me off the fucking scent. I come home from shopping and dinner with my mom and dad. I come home. He's like, my good friend's coming over. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I'm just going to go hang out with the neighbors. Him and his friend are just playing video games. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Go hang out with the neighbors. I'm there for like a good bit. They're just watching baseball. We're chilling. We're chatting. We come up. I come upstairs. They're still playing Fortnite. And I'm like, whatever. I guess I'll go finish my work. Like, and thank God I did. Actually, I think Hunter, he did it in such a good way. I was like, oh, like I do have a few more work things I should get to, but like I could just do them on Sunday. So like maybe I won't. And I think he said something like, no, like you feel best when you get them done or something like that, which is true. But like he like knew I wasn't gonna want to do shit on Sunday. So I came in here. This is also my office, and I worked till like 11:30, 11:45. Like it was kind of late. Go to sleep, wake up. The Silverstone F1 Grand Prix is happening, or it happened at 7 a.m. our time. And we always watch them the next morning. And I said to Hunter, if we watch the Grand Prix, I'm going to be late. They're qualifying, just so I don't get attacked by the F1 girlies. I'm gonna be late if we watch this. Like I was very honest. I was like, I'm gonna be late. Like I can't go to the bathroom and see the TV. So like I'm gonna be late. He was insistent. I was like, fine, watch the fucking Grand Prix. I get ready. And we were running late. And I almost didn't put on the outfit I just bought. Because now I'm totally thrown off. I almost wore like a white collared shirt, which sounds like I also fucking knew. But like I just like that shirt with like jean shorts and like wedges or something. Which thank God I was not wearing. But I put on that outfit and because I was out of time. I was late and I was like, well, I know I fucking like this outfit, so I gotta go. And my hair had turned out perfect. My makeup had turned out perfect. And I got in the car and I was like, this would fucking happen to me. Like I would get this fucking ready and feel this great and love this outfit so much and I will not get proposed to. And I was like, I have to tell myself this sometimes because my emotions are so strong. And I was like, you just got to let it go now. Let it go. And so we're in the car and we're kind of quiet. And I was just like, let it go. Whatever. You're just going to the Getty. We got to the Getty and I'm like, I'd been anxious. So that was still like, it's like an earthquake. The aftershocks are still maybe like running through my body. But I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna go see the fucking museum because believe it or not, I'm actually a little bit of a nerd and I do actually like museums. Let's be clear, I'm not like Blair Waldorf and I don't like to spend hours in a museum, but like I do like museums. I do move faster than a grandparent, but I do really like museums. Whatever, I'm trying to look at the fucking ancient coins and Hunter keeps being like, let's go over there. I'm like, you're acting weird. And I should have known something was weird because he brought his jacket. And I'm like, it's a summer day and you are never cold, sir. Whatever. He walks me over to the spot and he's like, this is so pretty. We should take a picture. I'm like, sir, you never asked to take a picture. I always asked to take a picture. He was like, "Oh, okay. Well, like let's take a picture." And I didn't say that, but I was just thinking it. And he goes right up to this guy. He was like, "Oh, you really look like you know what you're doing." He has two DSLR cameras on his hip and he's like shooting pictures. He's like, "Would you mind taking a photo of me and my girlfriend?" And it all was like click 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 click, but it happened so fast. And I'm also kind of like, am I tripping? It's like that stop moment where you like go to check your pulse and you're like, am I alive? Am I dreaming? Is this real? Am I real? Am I a speck of dust? Like those existential crises. I have no idea what happened to me. It happened so fast. And we're like standing there and Hunter starts talking. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And I literally said, the first line he said to me was, well, I'm not gonna make you wait all month. And I literally in all the videos, even the one that is far away, throw my head back and go, "Oh my God." Because I'm in such shock of this emotional roller coaster that I've put myself through. And he just starts talking. And he asked me to marry him. I will say, hot tip, I wish someone had said to me, it's a kind of cute note now. When he said, "Will you marry me?" I didn't even fucking blink. There wasn't even like a half second. It was like, "Oh my God, yes." I didn't say, "Oh my God." For the love of God, I hope I didn't. I'm like flapping my hands and I'm like, "Yes." Take a second and fucking breathe. I wish I had watched more proposal videos where they like breathed and then said yes. Nope, not cute at all. I'm just like, "Yes." I'm sure the pictures and whatever are gonna be cute and whatnot. And you know what? The surprises did not end there. The photographer ended up taking photos of us for I don't know how much long of a time. Then it was whisked off. Luckily, I got to see my cat. Came home for like 2 seconds, grabbed some stuff. Hunter told me we were staying in a hotel and we were gonna get dinner and drinks with our families. And then I was surprised in the hotel room with like flowers, champagne, and my best friend and my future sister in law had, arranged for there to be two white dresses there for me to try on and wear, because Hunter told me that evening we were going to go out with our friends. And I was like, oh my God, that's so cute. And I was like, oh my God, these two dresses are here. Like, should I change them? And Hunter was like, your outfit's so great. And I was like, yeah, I do really love this outfit, but like, should I change? And he was like, no, you don't have to change. And I was like, are you sure? And he was like, yeah, you don't have to change. And I was like, okay. And I was like, well, they're here. So I kind of want to try them on. So I tried it on. And then we walked upstairs and I was surprised by our family and friends being there, and it was honestly a wonderful day. I know this sounds cheesy, and I feel like every basic bitch says this, but, like, I wasn't a girl who, like, dreamed about their proposal, but, like, I really wasn't a girl who dreamed about my proposal. Sure, I wanted someone to, like, get down on one knee and, like, propose to me one day, but, like, I could have never envisioned it going down the way it did, and, his sister and her friend and his family and my best friend were and my parents were insanely helpful throughout this whole thing, and it was absolutely the most magical day ever, and I wish I could just live it over and over and over and over again. But now I'll have this fucking podcast. My mom told me something interesting when we were at dinner. She was like, "Make sure to write some of the shit down." Now I'll have this whole podcast, and you do too. Something else funny I just want to throw in here so we know my personality hasn't changed at fucking all. That night we did go out with our friends, and I was like to the bartender, like, "I just got engaged, like, I need shots." And I'm like pretty drunk at this point. And he gives me a shot, and I go to pull out my credit card to pay for it, and he goes, "No, no, it's on the house." And I was like, "Amazing." The next day, I'm on the phone with my friends, and they were like, "Yeah." I mean, I asked, I said, "Was I a mess?" And they were like, "No, you were just really happy. But the bartender did start giving you shots of water." And I was like, "Thank God he didn't make me pay for that shot of water." Just funny, cute memories. So all in all, I would like to say that there's no one way to get engaged. There is no one way to have a wedding. There is no one way to have a relationship. They are deeply unique. And honestly, again, no idea if any of you give a fuck about this episode, but honestly, it was a very chaotic Marley episode, which we have not had in a fucking while. And you know what? I started this podcast because I felt so out. Like I had never felt like I was in, that I was cool, that I was it, that I had the thing. And even if you do have things like an engagement or, that pinnacle moment in your career, you might never feel like you are it. And the only person who can give you it is you. And that is how I'm going to end this Confessions of a Wannabe It Girl podcast. We'll see you next Tuesday.